Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Anson here. So we're back with a brand new Discord video. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing some freestyle coding. Now normally my videos are more of a tutorial based where I have already done something and I'm showing you guys how to do it. But this video is going to be a little bit different, and don't worry, you are not going to walk out this video empty-handed, because I have this habit of every single thing that I do, I always like explaining it. And I figured, if I want to work on a project, I honestly really like commentary because it helps me, it allows me to pretty much think through the entire process and think through the logic of what I want to do. And it's a good practice for me too. So anyways, getting to the main point of the video. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coding a starboard. Now, I don't know exactly if it's going to work exactly like the starboard, but pretty much the starboard, all it really is let's say, for example, if I'm on general and let's say I like a message that someone sends. Let's say, this guy's message over here, one of my moderators, I like his message, so I want to react with a certain emoji. So when I react with that emoji, what's going to happen is it's going to go ahead and go into the starboard channel, and it's going to send an embed message. So you can kind of see over here that I have three messages over here in the starboard. And yeah, so for example, someone starred this message, there's only one star, right? And it will pretty much give you the content of the message. It will give you a link so you can jump to the message. It will give you the author who sent the message, and etc. So it's pretty much kind of like a bookmark for messages. So you can kind of like, if let's say if you really found someone's message really funny, you can just, star it and it will be placed over here. Every single time someone stars it, the star should update, or not the star, the number should update. For some reason over here, I'm not sure if it will still update over here, but yeah. Anyways, so we're going to basically create a mock version of this. I'm not sure if it's going to be anything better or anything worse, but we're just going to try our best, and yeah, so let's go get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to go into my terminal, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new directory inside my shell. So if you're not familiar with the Linux commands or shell commands, don't worry about this. Just create the folder manually and open up Visual Studio Code inside that folder. Starboard bot. Okay, so I'm going to open up code from my terminal by using the code command. Okay. And from here on, we're just going to go ahead and do npm init-y to initialize our repository. We're going to install our dependencies. You don't really need much. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my bot token real quick. All right, so I'm going to create a .env file, and I'm going to create an environment variable called bot_token, which is going to be loaded into memory when we when we call the config function. So I'll show you guys what we're going to do in just a sec. If you guys have seen my other tutorials before, you'll know exactly what I do all the time. So we're going to go ahead and just do require .env.config. So this is going to load all of our environment variables in the .env file into the global process.env object. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do const client just require discord.js. So I'm requiring the discord.js module, but I'm only just getting the class, the client class itself. And we're going to create a new instance of that class. I'm going to go ahead and log the bot in. So we're going to do process.env.bot_token. And there we go. And then now we just do a simple ready event. We add a listener on the ready event. All right, so now what we want to do is we basically want to listen to reactions. Okay, so since we're in version 12, and again, this will only work in version 12, what we're going to be doing is we're going to opt into partials, which is a new feature of version 12. Okay, so the reason why we're going to opt into partials is because these messages over here, right now our bot is offline, right? So if our bot goes online, all these messages will not be cached. Okay, if our messages are not cached, that means that the bot will only be able to listen to reactions that are on messages that are cached. So we need to handle that. So what we're going to do is we're going to opt into partials by going inside the new client inside the parentheses. So we're basically going to pass in an object into the client constructor. And this object is basically a guild or a client options object, and it has one of the properties partials, which is an array. And you can opt into these partials by doing, you can specify whichever one you want. we only need two. We only need message and then reaction. That's it. Okay, cool. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and listen to the message reaction add events. And this event has a callback function that takes in two parameters. It takes in the reaction that the user reacted with, or I'm sorry, it has the message reaction object, okay? And it has the user object, the user that reacted to the message. Okay, so from here on, now, every time we react to a message, whether or not it's cached or not cached, or whether or not it's cached, we're going to go ahead and the client is going to emit this event. So we need to check to see if the message is a partial. Okay, so we're going to do if, let's see, reaction, let's see, message partial. So if it is a partial, that means that it is not cached. So we're going to go ahead and just fetch the message. So we're going to do reaction message fetch, and this returns this is a promise. So we're going to go ahead and just use async await. So we're going to do await reaction message fetch. Okay, so once we fetch the message, it should be in the cache. We should have all the properties, and it should be all good. Okay, and I'll do fetch. I might need this later on, so let's just save in the variable for now. Okay, and I think after, let's see. So once we fetch the message, we should have all of the corresponding data that we need to extract. Okay, so okay, what we're going to need to do is we need to make sure that we're checking for the correct emoji that the user used to react to the message. So for example, for Starboard, by default, Starboards usually use the star emoji, which is a Unicode emoji. So this is not a custom emoji, it's a global Discord emoji. Okay, so I'm going to go into bots real quick so I can do something like star. Okay, and we're going to use star2 because I don't want to conflict with the other one. So we're going to use star2. So I'm actually going to go to my test server and let's do this. Let's go ahead and do, let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Unicode emoji by doing / the name of the Unicode emoji, and I can then copy this into my text editor, which is pretty awesome. So what we want to do is we want to first check if the reaction emoji is equal to this emoji. Now I think we might need to fetch the reaction as well. I'm not entirely sure about this. We're gonna double check this right now. So someone reacted with. Okay, let's try this out. Our bot has not been logged in, so we're gonna log our bot in. Okay, so our bot should log in. Great. So what I'm gonna do is our bot's logged in. These messages are not cached. Let's react with the other reactions, star2. So there we go. Someone reacted with a star. Perfect. Okay, that's great. So we don't need to check if the reaction is a partial. Okay. All right, cool. So I think from here we can then do this check. So I'm going to go ahead and just nest this if statement inside this outer if statement. So basically we want to first check to see if the emoji that they react with is this star2 emoji. If it is, we're going to check if the message is a partial. Okay, we're just checking to see if it is not in the cache. And if it's not, we're going to fetch it. Okay, I think from here, what's next is we need to, let's see. What we're going to do is we're going to need to get a Starboard channel. So let's go ahead and create a channel. I need to clean up the server someday because there's so many garbage channels here, but let's just create a channel. Let's call this Starboard. Okay, so you have a Starboard channel. Where is it? It's right here. I'll just move it up here. Okay, so we're going to basically fetch that message if it's not in the cache, and we're going to send that message to this Starboard channel, and it's going to basically have a link to that channel. Okay, now again, this like the next couple of steps are going to be the easiest things that we're going to do. We have not touched the hard parts yet, so don't worry. We're going to walk through it one by one. So let's first go ahead and get this, let's see. All right, so if it's not a partial, we're going to fetch the message. We're going to go ahead and get an embed message. So we're going to go ahead and require the message embed class so we can create embed messages. And we want to, I kind of want to mimic at least the basis of the Starboard on my server. So let's see. We want the author, their icon. So let's do this. So let's see, const embed equals new message embed. So we're gonna do, let's see, I think, so this is definitely not a title, that's the author. So we're gonna do set author. The first parameter is gonna be the name. So we're gonna do fetched message author dot username, or yeah, we could just do username. We can also have their discriminator too if we want. So if you want that, you can just do tag. And then we need their icon. So we're gonna do fetched message dot author. Let's see, display target URL. Let's see, function. Okay, and I think that's it. So now we're going to need the link to the message. So to get that, I think, where did this guy put it here? Where did they put it here? This is, I think, oh, this is a link, I think. Set URL. So we're gonna need a link to the message. So I think it's gonna be fetched message dot URL. There we go, just like that. And set URL. Can we actually, let me see. I've never used this function before, but I don't think that will actually change this thing to jump message. So let's see, set. Okay, let's worry about the letter. So set URL, and now we need the description, which is going to be the what is this? The contents. We're gonna do set description. We're gonna do fetch message.contents, and then we will set a footer. And I'm not sure if this is okay. So the footer itself gives you the date of the starred message, not the date that this message was sent. So we're gonna do set footer. We're gonna do fetched message.timestamp, create a timestamp, and I think this should be it. So let's try and do this. Now we're gonna have to get the Starboard channel. So we're gonna go to test. We're gonna just copy DD. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and get it by name. So we're gonna do const Starboard equals, to get the channel by name, we're gonna go ahead and do client channels cache find. Okay, so the cache itself is a collection in version 12 now. So we're gonna do channel. So this is a callback function, and this is pretty much going to we're gonna basically go through every single element in the cache and check to see if the name of the channel is equal to Starboard. But I'm gonna actually set this to lowercase. Okay, there we go. So if that exists, I'm gonna do if Starboard, then we do starboard.send embed. And again, you want to make sure the bot has permissions for this channel. It should have it by default. I don't think there should be any conflict. There any problems? Okay, so let's go into, let's see, let's start this message with star2. Okay, there we go. And there we go, perfect. I'm not sure. Oh, that's the timestamp. Oh, we need, I think. Try it again. That was the timestamp of the date, which is not what we want. Let's try this again. Start 2. Okay, no, that's not exactly what we want. Let's see. Fetch message.date. I think honestly what we could do is we could just create a new date object and just pass in the timestamp, but that should be fine. Let's try that. Hopefully that works. Okay, let's go here. Let's just do a reaction. I really wish I could just add my most recent reactions. Start 2. That did not work. Let's try it again. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it gives you the exact date. So March 26th, which is the date that this message was sent. Okay, so we don't have the URL for some reason. Let's see. I'm not sure how they must have gotten it through there. I don't know how Ataja did the hyperlink. I'm not sure if that's part of like the embed. Let me actually double check the docs, because I know Taja was actually written in Discord Pi, so it might be a little bit different. But let's see, thumbnail. It's definitely not thumbnail. URL. The URL of this embed. We could set the URL, but I'm not sure what exactly that does though. So thumbnails, title. So set URL definitely didn't do anything, but we get the URL of the message. So I think let's do this. Let's just add a field. URL. Let's just do this. Just see how it looks. It shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. Let's try this again. Let's just add a reaction to 2. Okay, so that gives us that. We can just jump to. Okay, it doesn't look that pretty. I'm not really sure how to really do it the same way Ataja does it. I'm pretty sure there should be a way though. I'm just not sure, because we did set thumbnail, set image, set footer, description. We did set URL, sets the URL of this embed, but it didn't give us anything. So yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you guys. If you guys know, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I would really love to know how that works. But for now, we'll just leave it like this: URL of the message. Okay. All right, great. So we have the URL. What else are we missing? Okay, we need to actually display the number of stars. Okay, so to do that, okay, this is gonna be a little bit tricky. So again, remember how I said the hard part is yet to come? This is the hard part. So right now, we have 1 star over here, right? Now, what if someone else stars the message? What should happen is that star should be this message should be updated. Okay, so this is gonna be a little bit tricky. Here's what we can do. What we can do instead of the timestamp is for the footer. We can still keep the timestamp, but what we could do is we can set the footer to the ID of the message that was starred. So you can do fetched message.id. We're gonna do a dash and like this. Okay, so let me go ahead and just delete everything from the channel again. And let's just star this message. Okay, so when it's not down here, it's going to give me the ID over here. So what we can do is we can just, every single time the user stars the message, we're going to go in Starboard and we're going to go ahead and find a message where the footer's ID starts with, the footer starts with the ID of the message that was starred. Okay, I actually remember I saw this in, I think, in Idiot's Guide a while ago, but I never really fully followed the guide. I just remember seeing it, because we kind of need some kind of way to check which messages are already starred already, and if it's starred, we're just going to update that message and change the number of stars. Okay, so let's see. We need to fetch all the messages in the channel, which is going to be kind of difficult, but I think by default, if the message is like, too far away, then we don't have to worry so much about it, because what that means is, let's say for example, if you have 1,000 messages in the Starboard server, in the Starboard channel, and someone stars a message that is like the 5th message from the top, you're basically gonna have to fetch all 1,000 of those messages just to get to that part. So we don't have to. So to prevent spamming the API, we're not gonna do that. We're only gonna worry about the, I guess, first 100 messages, which I guess is reasonable enough. We're gonna go ahead and first check to see if the emoji is the *2 emoji. So if that is true, okay, let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and check to see if the reaction is if the message is a partial, and if it isn't, we're gonna fetch the message. Okay, great. From here, what I want to do is I want to go inside that Starboard channel, and I want to go inside the Starboard channel, and I want to fetch the last, I guess, 100 messages. So let's do const messages equals starboard dot messages fetch. And we're gonna await this. We're gonna do a limit of, let's do 100. Oh, it's gonna, whoops. Okay, so this will fetch 100 messages, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do messages const existing message equals messages. So this is a collection. We're gonna go through this collection, and we're going to check to see. Well, this is a collection, so the ID is mapped. So we're gonna do messages.get. We're gonna go ahead and do. We're gonna pass in the fetched message ID. Actually, wait, no, I'm sorry. This is a little bit more trickier. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a filter. Okay, and actually, no. We're gonna do a find. Okay, we're gonna go through every single message, and what I want to do is I want to check to see if the messages footer, or I'm sorry, wait, no. We're gonna check to see if the message has an embed. So we're gonna do if message.embeds. I don't think there's a manager for embeds, so we don't have to worry about. Let's check. Yep. Okay. So if message.embeds.length, and we're gonna make sure the length is 1. Okay. And then if the length is 1, okay. So if there's only one embed in that message, which it should be that way, if that's true, what we want to do is you want to check to see if the embed of that message, the footer, we want to check it to see if the footer starts with the ID of the message. So we're going to do if message.embeds at subscript 0. So that's the embed at subscript 0. Dot footer dot starts with fetched message.id. So if that is true, message start found. We're going to return true. So otherwise, we are going to return false. So I think we return false over here, because if this is false, then we're going to do return false. And let's see if that's false. Okay. Okay, should be good enough. Okay, and then now, let's do console log existing message. I know it's a little bit weird what I'm doing, but don't worry, I'm gonna explain in just a sec. Okay, so right now, let's just delete this message. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and do this. Fetched messages in Starboard channel, just so we can kind of get some logging real quick. Okay, so we're gonna go into the, I guess, Minecraft channel. We're gonna star this message. Okay, so fetched messages in Starboard channel. Notice how it says undefined. Okay, so this is now in the channel, right? What we did was we tried to see if there was a message that was already in that Starboard channel with the footer starting with the ID of the message. And since it didn't exist, it's going to return undefined. Okay, and then since all this, we're gonna go and continue and send the message to the Starboard. Okay, so okay, so we started what, W list. Okay, so let's go here. Now watch this. I'm gonna star this. And notice how here now, it still says undefined, huh? Oh, we forgot to do one thing. So right now, all this is happening if the message is a partial. So else, if it's not a partial, we're gonna do the same exact thing. We're gonna just do all this that we just did here. Okay, yeah, because that was already cached already. I'm gonna actually put this in a function, I think, so we don't have to, so we can like tidy things up. But anyways, so let's just save this again, and yeah. Okay, so now the message is not in the cache anymore, so it is going to be in partial. But now it shouldn't say undefined, like this existing message should not say undefined. So let's double check this real quick. Starts with is not a function. Okay, we are doing something wrong, so let me go ahead and go here. Let's see, the footer is a string. Oh, this is, oh, whoops. Okay, we have to do, it's footer.text, because footer is, I thought footer was a string, but it's not. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's just fix that. And let's go back here. Our bot's restarted, so let's react now. Okay, now see how now the message is not undefined. Okay, because what happens here? So let me just walk you guys through what exactly I was trying to do. Okay, because right now, look, we start the message and notice how it's sending that message again to the starboard. We do not want that to happen. We want to just update the number of stars that are on the message itself in the starboard. That's why we need to go ahead into the starboard message, into the starboard channel, and check to see if that message has been started already. So the way that we're doing this is we are fetching the last 100 messages in the starboard channel. Okay, and what we're gonna do is this will return a collection of all of the messages in that channel. And we're going to assume that every single message in that channel has only one embed only. So what we're doing here is MSGS, messages, right? This is a collection, and we are calling the find function on this collection. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to first see if the message.embeds.length is equal to 1. So if that's the case, we are then going to check to see if the footer text starts with the ID of the message that we start. So this ID over here is the ID of this message over here. If I copy the ID, you're going to see 6727624999, and it's going to be the same thing right over there. The reason why we are checking to see if the footer is this is a way we can use to identify which message was started already. So if that is true, if it starts with the ID, we're just going to say, look, message star found, and look over here, message star found. We're going to return true. We can get rid of this, and we can just get rid of this. And I can honestly just turn this into a ternary operator, but we'll worry about that later. Right now, it works. Okay, and you can see how it logs the message to the console. Okay, so from here on, if it's found, if existing message is found, right? So if it's not undefined, that means the message was found. That means the message was never started. So if that's the case, then what we want to do is we want to update this message. Okay, so we're going to do existing message.edit. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit the message. So let me see, that should be right over here. Let me go ahead and just grab that real quick, and there should be an edit, and this takes in taking a string. Okay, so what we want to edit it to is we want to edit it to the number of stars that are on that message with the star emoji. But for now, testing purposes, let me just do this. Let's just do edit just to show you guys, okay? But ideally, what we want to do is we want to just get the number of reactions that are on that message, which is not going to be too difficult. But let me just save this real quick. And let me go ahead and just do an else. So if the message was not found, we're just going to do this line of code, which is just sending the message to the starboard. So let's just have our bot restart. Okay, so let me just delete this because right now we have 2 duplicates. So we're trying to solve the issue with having the same message being starred. So this pretty much solves that problem. So if I start this, let's see. Okay, well, this still sends... Hold on, wait a minute. What's going on? Wait, what did I do? Oh, I started the wrong message. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let me go ahead and start this message now. Okay. Now see how it's edited? Before it was not edited. Now it's edited. Let's do the same thing with this message over here. Okay, pay attention. Right, there's nothing here. Okay, right now it's just the embed. But if I do this, what happened over here? Fetched message is not defined. Oh, that's because oh wait, whoops. Yeah, I forgot one thing. That message is cached, so we need to go down here. And let's see what's going on. 46. Yeah, we need to hold on, where are we? Well, since it's not a partial, we can just do reaction.message.id. Okay. Alright, so let's just do this real quick. First, let's just delete... Whoops, let me just go back here. Let's just delete these real quick. Okay, so right now our bot has been restarted. We have no messages in the cache. Okay, so let's just start this message. Okay, so now the message has been fetched. It's now in the cache. Okay, so now we need to go into this else case. Okay, so the else is pretty much doing the same exact thing. Okay, so if we go over here, let's just go here. Let's start this message. Now notice how we have another error. Oh, whoops. I forgot to fix something down here. Where was it? It was the footer. It's supposed to be text. Let me just make sure everything else is good. Okay, let's just delete this. This itself should be good. And we also need to, let's see. Oh, we need to do this. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's try this again. So let's just delete this message. Let's go back to welcome. Let's unstar this. Let's unstar this. Okay, so let me go ahead and just... So right now we have no messages during the cache. Let's start this message. Start. Send to the starboard. Perfect. So now the message is cached. Okay. So now that the message is cached, let's go ahead and star that same message. So where was it again? Let's just click on here. Star. Okay. No error. Message starred found. See how it says message starred found? That is being logged on this line over here. So we return true. Okay. Now since we return true, that basically means we found the message. Okay. So if existing message, so this is the actual message that was found, we're going to edit the message, and notice how over here it says edited. Okay, but we haven't done anything significant yet. We need to actually change the number of stars. We need to change it to the number of stars that are on that message. So let's do that. Let's do template syntax, and let's do reaction dot count. So this is, I think, the total number of reactions on there. And then let's just paste this emoji here. Okay, and let's just do the same thing down here. Okay, so let's just restart it again. So you can kind of see that I'm just, constantly, editing it, or constantly, testing it just to make sure that everything's good. Testing it one by one because you want to make sure that it works properly. So let's add the reaction. Oh wait, whoops, we forgot to do one more thing. So when we first add the message to the starboard, what we want to do is we want to actually just send the, let's do this. We're going to send one like this. Okay, so we're basically going to send the initial message with 1 hyphen star. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing down here. Perfect. So let's restart that. And let's try this out now. So now it should send the message with the embed. Okay, so it says it's 1. So now when we go ahead and start this, it should say 2. See? And if someone else were to start it, it should say 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And people can see this, they can click on it, they go like, wow, so this is the message that was starred. Let's try and star this message over here. So let's do star 2. That is being sent to the channel. Okay, we started this message, and there we go. It gives you the date, the ID. Let's go ahead and go here, and let's star that. And it should say, it did not edit it. Oh, it edited. Okay, there we go. Now it did. Took a little bit. Took like a second. But okay. Let's star this message. Okay, the message was not found in the starboard, so it started. And let's go ahead and go here, and let's start it. And notice how it's going to say edited. Okay, great. So now we know that this works, and which is great. Okay, so we're not done yet. This is just the. This was probably, I think, the hardest part of the entire starboard. The next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that they are not using that star. They're not starting messages in the starboard. Okay, so to check for this, we're gonna go ahead and just do this. If let's see, if reaction dot message channel, and we're gonna do dot name as dot to lowercase starboard. I'm just doing a console log. Cannot start messages in starboard, and we'll just return. And let me just show you how this works. So right now, if I try to star this message over here, well, that didn't really work. cannot star message in Starboard, okay? Because if we didn't do this check, it would pretty much star this, this message over here, which is not what we want. Okay, so that's one good check that we can do. So we can just do, it's a simple one-liner. So let's just get rid of these console logs because we don't need them. We don't need to worry about this. So we're not done yet. We need to unstar messages. So let's say, for example, if I unstart a message, then it should go from 2 to 1. Okay, so that's a pretty easy fix, but before we do that, let me actually clean up my code real quick. So like I promised before, I want to kind of like change this find to something more simpler. So let's do this. So we first have to check this, and let's do this. So if message.embeds, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Return, we're going to use a ternary operator. So we're going to do, so if this is true, we're going to return true, else we're going to return false. So that eliminates 2 extra lines. And we can do the same thing with this as well. So we can do, let's see, let's get rid of this. So we kind of have like a nested ternary operator. So if this is true, we're then going to return this nested, else we're going to return this false. Looks a little bit ugly, but let me just do this real quick. So let's see. So if this is true, then we're going to return the truth value. We're going to return this. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. I know there's a way we can do this. I'm just not entirely sure what it is right now. So let's see. Okay, so if this is true, we're going to check this. Okay. Now, let's see. Oh, we couldn't have that there. Okay, let's do this now. And this false gets rid of there, and this perfect. Okay, this should be just fine. I know it looks really ugly, but this is just a nested ternary operator. So if this is true, we're going to go ahead and evaluate this. Okay, so we're going to do, if this is true, okay, we're going to say true, we're going to return that. Okay, and that's going to return next message. If it's false, it's going to return false. And if this is false, we're going to do this. I know it's a little bit weird, but don't worry so much about it. It's just a ternary operator. Okay, makes things look a lot more cleaner. And we're going to check to see if existing message, and if that is a truthy value, we're going to edit the message. So let's just go ahead and just fix that real quick. So let me go down over here, and we're going to do the same thing down here. So we're going to do this. Okay, that gives us, makes our code look much more cleaner. Okay. So let's see. Let's double check this again. All right, so let's try to start. Let's start this message. Let's see. Okay, there we go. We started to the starboard. Okay, and let's go here. Start it, and it should edit it. Fetch the message is not defined. I have an error down here. Yeah, it's not fetch message reaction .message.id. Okay. So let's go ahead and try that again. I'd say no. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's because yeah, yeah, I need to fix that. Dude, there we go. Okay, see how it says edit now? Let's try this one. Let's do add reaction with *2. Okay. Let's go here. Edit it. Perfect. There we go. So that works just fine. So it was giving us null because we unreacted to it, and then reacted to it again. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to see what else we can kind of like clean up a little bit. But actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's see. I think what I'll do instead is I'll just see. Hold on, let me see something real quick. Because I want to keep things consistent, because I don't want to, like, if we have the same exact code over here, I don't want this. So what I'm just going to do is, let me do this. when we fetch the message, let me just double check to see if the reaction.message object is going to be the same, if it's going to have no value, excuse me. So let's do this. Yeah, everything is still, let's see, constant. Oh, wait, so it's not null anymore. Okay, so I think we could just do this. So instead of worrying about the fetched message, we can just fetch the message, and then we can just do reaction.message.id, just so we can be consistent. So we're gonna replace fetch message with reaction.message. And likewise, the embed down here should also be reaction.message. I'm not sure why the this would have actually thrown an error too, which I haven't actually tested that case yet. So it was it's a good thing that I realized that just now. Okay, so reaction.message to alter display avatar. Oh, that's because look, watch this. Look. So watch this. Let's go ahead and just send this message. Just wait for it to restart. Okay, so now this is going to throw an error. If I send this message and if I start immediately, so this is a cached message already. Notice how it's throwing a message because fetch message is not defined. I forgot to handle that case, but what I'm doing here is I'm simply just replacing everything with fetch message with reaction.message because everything inside the scope, fetch message is not defined. Okay, but because everything is pretty much the same thing, we're just going to change everything to reaction.message. Okay, because before we fetched it, right, we're not going to have all the values, and I kind of showed you it earlier when I console logged the reaction.message. It showed you all of the values because we fetched it. If you don't fetch it, everything's going to be null. Okay. So now if we save, now if I do this. Please tell me, did our bot log in? No. Okay, there we go. Now if I start this message now, it should edit it. Cannot read property ID of undefined, huh? And that's happening inside where? Inside here, I think, right? Oh, it's message.id. I messed up. Okay, let's try it again. Let's do this. Let's start it. Perfect. Now let's go back here and let's start this message. And it should edit it just like that. Great. Okay. Perfect. Alright, so now we have everything is the same. The only difference is that we have a fetching up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'll declare, let's just do const handle starboard. It's just gonna be an arrow function. And we're just going to go ahead and just copy this, just paste that in there. Okay. Now I can just go ahead and do this. So instead of having the same code in both the if and else blocks, we can just simply do handle starboard, just like that. Okay. And yeah, I think that should be it. Let's try this again. Just want to always wait, so we need to make this a async function. Wait, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and star the message. So let's do star, send the message to the channel. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and star this message. It should edit it. Perfect. Okay, now let's say if I want to star a cache message, so I'll star this one. 2. There we go. We start a cache message, so now it's no longer in the cache because we fetched it. It has only 1 right now. Let's start it. 2. Perfect. If I try to star a message in this channel, it's not going to do anything, as it shouldn't. Okay, so I think this itself is good enough. Okay, so we're basically going to do the same exact thing inside the message reaction remove. We're just going to edit the message. and change it to the previous number. So let's do client dot on message reaction remove. Okay, so if we remove a reaction from the message, we're just going to update the number of stars there are. So again, we're gonna do the same thing. Let's see. So we're just gonna check to see if the emoji is a star. Okay, if it is, perfect. We're then also gonna make sure that we don't really have to check to see if the reaction was in the Starboard channel. Actually, no, we do. Because they might unreact. They might, star a message in the Starboard channel. So we want to make sure we check for that. But I'm just going to do this. So if the message is a partial, we're going to fetch the message, and we're just going to do pretty much the same identical thing. But this time, instead of sending embeds and, editing the message and updating with the count to, one more, we're just going to update the count. So what we're going to do is, let's do this. Handle Starboard. So this is going to be a different function. It's going to do something different than the one above. The only same thing that we're going to do is we're just going to fetch the messages from the Starboard. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to check to see if the person unstarred the message that, how do I explain this? Hold on. So basically, look, we are fetching all the messages in the Starboard channel when they remove the reaction from the message, okay? And then we have this collection over here. We're going to go through the collection. We're going to see if the message that they unstarred from, we're going to check the footer to see if it starts with the ID of the message that they unstarred the message from. And if that's the case, we're just going to edit the reaction count. So that should pretty much change it from, let's say if there's 2 stars, and if we unstar it, it's going to go from 2 to 1. Okay, and that's all that we need to do. Okay, so okay, perfect. All right, I think that's really it. So let's just call this function, and let's call this function over here. Okay, so let's try this now. So right now, if we unstar, let's just see. If we unstar this message, actually, let me go here. Okay, so if I unstar this message, this should update. So there's no errors, and it went to null. Huh, that's not what we wanted. That should have went to, let's see. Why did it go to null? So apparently count is null for some reason. Oh, you know what? It might be because we did not fetch the reactions. That's why. I think that might be the case. So let me actually try this. Might need to fetch the reactions. So let's just do that. Okay. It's a little bit weird, but let me just delete this. Okay, so let's just go here. Which one was that again? This one? I don't even know. 726. 605. This one, wait, what? Hold on, wait a minute. I'm a little bit confused. This message over here, I just want to make sure I'm going to the right one. Let's see. Okay, that was definitely the wrong one. Oh, it's this one. Oh my god, I'm looking at the wrong one. Okay, this one. Okay, so there was no error. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay, so the reason why we had that null case was because I guess we didn't fetch the reactions. So the count, so in order to actually get the count, you need to fetch the reactions. Otherwise, it's going to be null. So we'll just do this. So if it's a partial, I think even if it's, I think once the message is cached, it should have all of the, reactions, I think. I'm not sure, but you know what we'll do is we're just gonna do this. I'll just leave this over here for now. Okay, and let's see. Actually, no. Let me remove this real quick. Let me do this test. So let's just send a message. Okay, let's start it. Okay, so we start it. Now, if we start it, this should update to 2. If we unstar it, it should update to 1. Okay, so yes, this was already in the cache already. So if it's a partial, then we're going to fetch the the reactions, and then we're going to fetch the message. Okay, now we're almost done. We're not done yet, but we're almost done. We need to go ahead and remove the message from the starboard if the number is 0. So let's say, for example, right? Let's say right now this is 1. Okay, if I unstar, look over here, it turns into 0. So if it's 0, we need to actually delete this entire message from the starboard. So we do that in the message reaction remove event. So what we're gonna do here is, let's see. So let me just double check this real quick. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna do if, so this should not be too difficult. So let's do this. If existing message, if reaction counts is less than 1, or we can just do equals to 0, we're gonna go ahead and do existing message dot deletes timeout. Let's do 2500 milliseconds. So if the count is not 0, we're just gonna edit this. All right, let's try it again. So this one, let's just delete this. Okay, so right now we have this message over here, which is this one. So if I unreact from it, oh, whoops, that gave it 2. Huh, what the hell? Oh, wait, that's because it wasn't fetched. Okay, we need to go back up here. Remember how I said the reaction is not fetched? That's why it's null. So if it's a partial, we need to actually fetch it. Okay, so that pretty much fixed it. So let's just go inside. Where is it? If it's a partial, we need to do await reaction.fetch. Okay, so let's restart this again. And let's go ahead, and if we, so now notice how it's 1. If we react to it, it should say 2 and not null. Perfect. Now if I unreact, it should go back to 1. And if I go here and unreact, it should delete, did it delete the message? I think it did. Did it? I am not sure. Hold on, let me unreact from this one. Okay, so that's 1. Okay, let me delete these 2 messages because I couldn't tell actually. Maybe you guys may have been able to realize it, but let me just delete those 2 messages. So this message over here, once I unreact from it, this message over here, 2 should be deleted. URL, that's the message right there. Okay, let's cross our fingers. And it was not deleted. Oh, it was. Oh, it was deleted. Perfect. Okay, great. And maybe it might have deleted the other message. I don't know. You guys can go back and double check, but maybe it may have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Okay, and there we go. So let's go here now. And I think that's this message, right? Let's see. So there's 1. And let's get rid of that. And that should have deleted that message from there. Hey, there we go. Deleted it. Let's go to hello. So this was. So let's go here. And let's go ahead and do this. Whoops. Let's do this. Wait, what did I just do? Hold on. Okay, let me unreact from that real quick. Okay, so that's 1. Now let's unreact, and that should delete this message. There we go. Okay, yeah, perfect. All right, and there you go. So I think that's pretty much it. I think we've handled all of the cases that we needed to. And the only thing that I would say that would not work is if we cleared all of the reactions on a message, then it would not do anything. But yeah, this is just a very simple, most basic starboard. So yeah, I know, like, you know, it was kind of like there was a lot of, you know, trial and error, but again, this is just an attempt, and I think we were pretty successful, and hopefully I was able to explain everything that I was doing to the best of my ability. But let's just walk through this one more time. Okay, so the idea is what we're doing is we're listening to both the message reaction add event and the message reaction remove event. We're first checking to see if the emoji name is the *2 Unicode emoji, right? Which is this emoji that we've been using to react with. You can use whatever emoji you want, okay? Then what we're doing is we're checking to see if the person reacted to a message in the Starboard channel. If they did, we're returning because we don't want to listen to reactions in the Starboard channel. Okay, now we're checking to see if the message is not cached. Okay, that's what it means to check to see if a message is a partial. So if it's not cached, we need to, one, fetch the reaction. Okay, remember how earlier when we had the null, when we edit the message, that's because we did not fetch the reaction. Okay, we need to fetch the reaction in order to get the actual count and the data for the reaction. So we fix that by fetching the reaction, and then we fetch the message, and then we call handle starboard, which is this function up here. Okay, and over here we are getting the starboard channel. We are then fetching all of the messages in the starboard channel, and then we're going through the collection of the messages that we fetched in the starboard channel, and we're checking to see if there is an embed message where the footer starts with the ID of the message that the user started. Okay, that's the way that we're going to identify messages that have already been started already. Okay, and we went through this, crazy ternary operator, and then we check to see if the message will actually exist, and if it does, we're going to edit the message. Okay, and if it doesn't exist, we're going to send that message to the channel. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it for adding the reactions. Now for removing reactions, we're doing pretty much the same thing, but the opposite. The only difference in removing reactions is we are just deleting the message when the reaction count is equal to 0, which is what we're doing down here. And yeah, I think that is realistically all the things that we needed to do. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of this implementation. I'm sure it should be good enough. Like, again, it won't work for messages that are like all the way up top, but I think this itself should just be fine. You don't have to worry about messages that are like from like 1,000 messages ago, especially if you're in a large server too, because you're gonna have to do a lot of fetching and it's gonna take forever, and you don't want to spam the API too much. But yeah, so hopefully this video made some sense. I'm gonna leave the code in the description as always, and if you have any questions, just join my Discord server and ask, and I'll be happy to help you guys out. So I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.